everyone. I think I'm live? It still says preview. Yeah, pretty sure I'm live. Anyway, apologies to everyone except the Rune, because yes, sometimes that's how scheduled streams work. But it's the price to get the notifications to work properly. But yeah, I ran downstairs real quick to make a drink, and my wife asked me to make her one too, so it took another couple minutes. And that's something you say no to. That's fine. Hey, Sim, Laser, how's it going? Okay. The main question here is I ranked up Okoye earlier. I haven't really been drafting Reed. But I think that's the swap that makes the most sense. And let's give this a roll. Hey, Nartic Dilly. Welcome. Wait, thank you? Why, thank you? Alright, let's see how I play Battlegrounds as I make it through this Negroni. Woo! Their roster might be smaller than mine, but this is a disgusting Battlegrounds deck. Bravo, opponent. Oh, nice, Sim. Yeah, I saw the post. I'm glad you had fun. That's cool. Hey, Joey. Yeah, it's a pretty nasty draft. Let's start with the big boy. He'll buy some time. Well, I don't like to hear that at all, Joey. I do not want to deal with your roster. Lose a game or something. I actually don't know the exact mechanism, but somebody got something and decided to bite a bunch of other people. I think I've unlocked the gifting, shall we say, but I haven't bitten anybody yet. Yeah, Longshot has always been one of my favorite non-tech domino counters. You trigger crit fail because even boosted, his chance to gain karma on blocking is not 100%, so it's going to happen. You're going to take some damage, but he handles everything else really well. You can even dex because her dex disable is ability accuracy, unlike most. Okay, well this seems like a pretty clear Gene down, use Okoye. Nice, Quinn. Congrats on that. I'm glad you're enjoying him. Thanks, Misty. See 80 males every day. Jeez, you're getting it worse than I am. Hey, Zell. I don't know. Well played on that first one, though. Okay, that was some absolutely nonsense. Hit reactions. Excuse me. Jeez. Just backed off and waited. And that could have been another 900 easy. At least 800. Yeah, she's very good for that matchup, Joey. And the extra power game is just nuts. I think so, Dilly, but I haven't looked at it yet. Evening, Jeff. I had kind of the same thought when I saw your roster, Zell. You've got some very good Battlegrounds rank ups in there. Absolutely, Joey. Hey, BT, welcome. Hey, Zarafa. I don't think I'd be at the front of the line to design another symbiote. Like, I'm down, don't get me wrong. But we have bigger symbiote fans on the team. Yeah, he does, Victor. There's a... It's difficult to get into because even calling it a bug isn't quite right, but it's just the way auto block has always worked is that when the defender moves into the auto block react animation, it deletes hit stun basically, and that causes problems. Joey, I swear to... This is going on your review, sir. Hey, easy. This is disgusting. How dare you? I'm sure, BT. I don't think that was 29. I didn't count exactly, but 27 or 28. Because Cassandra was lower than some of the rank 3s. Yeah, I figured you had a couple that weren't in the deck. You're really harshing my drive to 100 points here, bud. Thankfully, not that many indigo. Are you about to? Hi, Kunga. I have no idea where that emoji's coming from. Got to slow first. Dang it! My fault. I wasn't committed to how I was gonna go for the medium, light, medium. And that's just me being stupid. Alright, come here. Dang it. I know Angela's good, but I could have had that one. I've beat that with Shung versus Photon before. You think they should have nerfed her more? On offense or defense? I'm trying to get a read for just how much people I won't name would hate you. No, it definitely is not Congo. Oops, that was my bad. Well, that's unfortunate, because I'm absolutely going to die from the special 3. That evade was really at the worst possible time. I don't want to hear it, Joey. I don't want to hear it. I did not die. Oh, you're definitely not going to get anywhere with that one, Jeff. See, the thing is, BT, that's just like... There's a reason that we do this stuff based off data, right? I'm sure you're not the only person who feels that way, but she was dramatically overperforming a 3.5 out of 5. Like, to put a finer point on it, that is like the whole reason we use data, right? Because I'm not surprised that you're like, well, yeah, she's tough, but it's not that bad, because, like, that's why she shipped that way, y'all. Like, I'm not saying that BT is a fool for thinking that, because clearly there's something in common with his impression of her and why she went out the door. But it doesn't mean he's right. Certainly do understand complaining. Clearly, I just should not play Battlegrounds on a Saturday night. This is not who I was running into earlier today. That's not what anyone said, Misty, though. Like, I understand what you are saying, but that is not what anyone said. And so I don't really think it's fair for you to say that. You talking about my thumbnails, BT? I appreciate that. This one I've used a few times, but I try and keep them at least somewhat up to date. You know what? Didn't think that through. Ma'am. Oh, that was rude. I think I just played that poorly, don't get me wrong. I'm not blaming her. I really thought that would do more damage. Kill? No, not enough. That's fine. I'm taking risks tonight. I didn't realize they did the mirror. Good for you, Dylan. Every ensnare is 30%. It is possible for ensnare to be a different amount, but, like... Ugh. I'm intentionally not fully getting into the conversation right now. We can have it, but y'all probably aren't going to enjoy it. So I'm holding myself back at the moment. You don't have to leave, Misty. But I do want you to not imply that we said things we didn't say. Oh, what? Okay, well. That was kind of the worst of all possible worlds. I don't think my reflexes are here tonight. Okay, that's 3 losses in a row, isn't it? I need to stop. Okay. Then I think just be careful when you're stating your own point of view. To not speak to other people's intent, right? Because that's definitely how those words read to me. And nowhere in any of the communications did anyone say, oops, we shipped her with an evade counter. That was a complete accident. Nobody said that. What we did say was that she doesn't need it, and it's not important to basically any of her top matchups, which is true. But those are very different things. That's funny, Indigo. Yeah, Jabari also has Ensnare. Only a few. Create the champion or create the champion attributes? Champion. Attributes are generally part of meta planning because it gives the rest of us an idea of like what a designer is intending to do with somebody, and it helps focus our playtest feedback and that kind of thing. Like it's useful internally the same way that it has some use for y'all as far as intent. The system has never been meant to have like an incredible amount of precision, and I've said that dozens of times. There is a difference between a 3.5 and a 5, though. Oh, that's not at all what anyone is saying, Kanga. That's not what anyone is saying. And they're also, like, I understand why you say that, why you think that they're just arbitrary. But that's not really fair either. Like, the point of the ratings is to try and communicate where we see someone sitting in the meta. And if somebody like Spider-Woman was intended to ship as an annoying, difficult, but not meta-defining defender, and she is performing as a meta-defining defender, that's not just about the number. That is about she is significantly outperforming her goals. And that the literal point of the rebalancing program is to solve things like that. Like, this is one of those things where if we didn't act here, we might as well scrap the program entirely and just call it a we're going to buff some champions sometimes program. It wouldn't be a rebalancing program. Okay, Victor, I really cannot underline this enough. The champion design team does not decide or have any input in what matchups are shown in the deep dive. Those are not even a little bit representative of the meta planning process. And I understand your point there. But that is not something I'm comfortable with us being held to. Hey, Grass, thanks for being a member. I appreciate you. I believe that was the original intent, Elijah. Yes. It's just that I think, like, this is just, these kinds of things happen in design sometimes where, like, you put in something like Ensnare because you're like, okay, I need to answer Enchantress's evade because it's causing problems. and then you end up not needing it, but you might not necessarily think to take it out, right? Like, there's enough stuff going on that it's not always going to happen for you to go back and re-examine every single ability that you put in a kit and go, okay, do I still need this? Do I still need this? Do I still need this? You try to. We always try to. But as I've said many times, this job is more art than science. Perfection just isn't a reasonable expectation, so we don't put it on ourselves. That's what the rebalance process is supposed to answer. Probably not Indigo, because that's not a physical resistance debuff. That makes sense. Like, it's not a physical vulnerability, it just reduces physical resistance. Let me guess. Complaining about Defender's frequency? Yeah, but that kind of stuff always goes both ways, Indigo. Like, yes, Ensnare can turn off Onslaught's Delirium. It can also turn off Jean's Delirium after she says it's going to happen, right? Which can be a big problem. It can also stop Thing from gaining a rock stack when you want him to, right? It can also mean that when you are fighting like a, what's the node? Critical interruption, when you need those critical hits and you go to intercept the opponent, you don't get it, right? That, like, global ability accuracy is very powerful, but it can hurt you as much as it can help you, especially when it's not 100%. Ah, okay. I see what you mean. I see what you mean. Then yes, I think we're making kind of the same point. That word would have helped. But yeah, fair enough. We do what we can, Kunga, but like, it's a combination of a couple things. To kind of answer your question and Easy's at the same time, we'd like to be making a lot more of these kinds of decisions. We'd like to be really digging into things regularly. I think Hulk's probably the biggest issue. But we don't have infinite balance designers, and the balance team is responsible for so much more of the game than you think they are. Like, whatever you think the balance team is responsible for, it's more than that. I promise. We only have a limited number of person hours for the balance team. And then there's also only a limited amount of capital that we have as far as what we're able to change without the community going nuts, right? Like, this was a good example of that, whether you think it should have happened or not, right? Because whether you think it should have happened or not, I hope we can all agree that there are a lot of people in this conversation who are reacting strongly, negatively, simply because we decided to touch something at all, even though that is the stated purpose of the rebalancing program. There are definitely a lot of voices in this who are not really digging into, does she need this and is this fair? And again, it's regardless of where you land on it, I'm not trying to cast shade at anyone who disagrees with me on the ultimate conclusion. Just saying, I've seen a lot of really unhinged discussions. Yes, it is very literally that indigo. Those are some of my least favorite. Yeah. The thing one is tough. But that's the thing, Elijah, is that she doesn't need it. Like, I don't want to speak too much because, like, I'm not on the balance team, and I'm not on the community team, and I don't want to, like, really dig into it too much, but, like, yeah. Stupid. Me stupid. Nobody else stupid. Oh, I really hate sometimes how good the defender is at pressing the button when you're trying to press the button. I could have ended that at least 30% faster. Yeah. And I would have lost anyway, which was the risk, but God, I hate Kindred. Whew! Yeah, Zarafa, I agree. Like, the only champion that we've really committed to tuning down, especially offensively, right? And let us please not even start to pretend that offensive and defensive are the same balance-wise or sentiment-wise. What was I saying? Oh, God, I have no defenders left. This is awful. Yeah, I should have kept that for Skull. No, I gotta try. But yeah, like, the only character that we've committed to nerfing offensively, and as long as I can remember, is Magic, right? I didn't mean to parry there, unfortunately, but now that's done. And frankly, we shouldn't have to wait until a character is multiple rarities behind before we can address problems. I don't think I won this one either. Yes, Namor was nerfed ages ago. Emphasis on ages ago. Nah, don't worry, Nartic. I'm not upset with you. And thank you, Mr. Solo, for the super chat. I really appreciate that. I'm sorry. kind of focusing. Ooh, yay, a win. That's a nice change of pace. But I do really, really appreciate it. And I agree. Like, anyone who says, but she used to be able to take Bullseye, and thinks that that's an argument for her keeping the ability that lets her badly take Bullseye, I'm not with. I can't. I'm all for shipping more Bullseye counters. A science character that also hits so many other things does not need to be one of them. You make a good point with that, Indigo, on the Dark Phoenix rebalance call not even being made. Wait, what? Ow. What just happened? Why did that Wushu strike not stun her? I'm so confused. Hey, Matt. Yeah, it's fine. I had no defenders. Huge eye roll at that emoji usage. Oh. I'm now down 30 points over multiple matchups. I think I should probably not be doing this. And y'all clearly want to talk, so I should be able to focus on talking. I'm gonna go to Incursions. Okay, let me catch up on chat a little bit. Yeah, I don't really see that as a counter argument, Herman. Like, there's a couple reasons for that. Like, number one, again, a science champion being a major answer to a science champion is not necessarily a good thing, right? That's not really a target that's going to hold as much weight with us. But there's also the fact that, like, the Spider-Woman versus Spider-Woman fight wasn't that great in the first place. And, like, congrats on doing it well multiple times. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not discounting your experience. What I am saying is that, like, that is part of the data we looked at, right? And it was not a common matchup for her. I know people did it. I am not saying nobody did, but it was not a common matchup for her. And when it was done, it wasn't a particularly effective one, right? Because the ensnare could fail your ensnare, etc., etc., etc. Like, that's not something that we necessarily need to preserve, if that makes sense. I mean, in fairness, Kunga, I'm going to be completely blunt with you. Power creep is going to happen. I would love for there to be more even growth and for there to be more balanced changes as well. But because this game is free, new champions do need to make money. And therefore, new champions do need to appeal to you, right? And we can't do that without them doing something that makes you go, ooh, I want that, right? So power creep is going to happen. We just spend an awful lot of time trying to make it as clean and even as we can. Why didn't I use Tiger for Onslaught? Because I'm not thinking clearly tonight. Like, I did have a drink, but, like, I'm just, yeah. That's not why. I said a couple matches ago, I don't feel like I'm making good decisions, either tactically or strategically. So I don't really have a defense. I mean, this happens all the time, Zarafa. I don't really want to name names because somebody's going to quote me angrily on it soon after, but this is not even close to the first time that an ability... I mean, this is different, right? Because, like, the Ensnare was not the reason most people ranked her. I would put money on that. You're right. But people did use it. Like, this time, it was used. I'm not pretending it's not. But, like, we have absolutely seen in the past characters have abilities fixed or removed, and then suddenly everybody pretends that that's what they were doing. And half the time, like, I'm convinced there have been several times in the past when people have pretended that they ranked up a champion for an ability they did not know existed. Yeah, she's very fun to play. I agree. No. Hey, Clubs. I think there's a fix being worked on for the combo tracker stuff there, Shuriken. That's ringing a bell, but I can't promise there. Yeah, like other games monetize cosmetics more, and like, look, I would love for some of our revenue to come from cosmetics, but that's not a switch you can make overnight, even if we want to. Yeah, that's the fastest thing to address there. And because, like, we don't have much cosmetics, we have to make money on champions. And it's like, again, I'd love for it to be as calm as it can, but it is gonna happen. You're not wrong, Harry. Shocker was definitely one of those frequencies. Wow, I had no idea that 200,000 people were using Shocker as their best Maestro counter. I said I wasn't going to speak to one, but you got me. Yeah, yeah. I mean, you don't have to pitch me on updating characters that aren't very good, Kanga. Like, that's why we did the rebirth thing, and I was a significant animating force in that update pool. Just kind of goes back to what I said earlier. Like, there's only so much capacity to do that. And we do have to make sure that we don't mess with, we do have to make some money. It's another game that I compare it to sometimes is, I don't know if any of y'all are familiar with the Total War games, but Total War Warhammer um, does quite a, excuse me, or at least historically has done very regular balance patches. And they'll do like some really granular stuff, like adjusting the mass of cavalry units 10%. And that's great, but it's a single player game where people paid upfront for the game. They paid for any DLC along the way. And pretty much everyone knows that part of the reason they have to do balance passes is that the DLC units from the most recent DLC will probably be overpowered because it helps the DLC sell better, and then they'll get nerfed later. It's Stay lovey. The Atuma one is funny. I don't remember anyone claiming that, but if they did, that would be a good example for sure. Yeah. Funnily enough, I ranked my Spider-Woman, I think, like a full week before the announcement. But I think probably about 24 hours before the decision was made. Oh. Not before the decision was made. That's not fair. I don't want to create a false timeline. But I think it was about 24 hours before I heard internally that it might happen, right? Because like that's always, they look at characters and it's a process. It's not like they just pull up a dashboard and it's lit up green or red and they go, "Well, that's it. Time to nerf." Like I'm sure that's what some people imagine. But yeah, the point I was making is that I would also do it again in a heartbeat. If, again, rank down tickets shouldn't happen because that's not something that is attached to the balance process. But if they sent them out, I wouldn't do that. Kind of as an interesting comparison, AFK Journey. Again, this is not me like proposing something for MCOC. I'm just kind of thinking out loud. But I play AFK Journey. Some of y'all have heard me talk about it before. They have Icarus on this guy with Unstoppable is going to be disgusting. That's really annoying. They have a mechanic where once per saga you get a swap ticket. Technically it's twice per saga, but they have a character rarity thing I'm not going to go into. Functionally, it's kind of like imagine if you got one per saga. And they give you a swap ticket where it's not really a rank down, but it allows you to swap the like tier and weapon level, which is pretty close to rank level and signature level of one character with another from that season, which is similar to the saga, right? And I find that a really interesting decision because you usually aren't ranking someone down and then leaving them there. You want them to come up later. It's more just a question of priorities. And it's like most of the time, like some characters optimize the crap out of it and they only really go in on a couple characters. So when they're swapping somebody who's like maxed out with somebody at the bottom. But often it's closer for like, you know, imagine if this was a saga thing. There'd be like 6 characters that came out in a saga. And so you'd be like swapping the one that you had at rank 3 Sig 80 for the one that you had rank 2 Sig 20. It would not be a big difference. And it would be restricted to within that saga to make sure that you're not like ranking down a character that came out 2 years ago and trying to like basically have your cake and eat it too by undoing a rank you got a lot of value out of. Yeah, I think that's a really interesting system. It's also inherently a system that helps people for whom resources are more precious and intentional more. Because if you're a whale who maxes out every character, the tickets are useless. But if you max like every 3rd character and you max out the wrong one, it's potentially huge. It would require a whole bunch of economic discussions and a crud ton of tech work to make something like that work here. But yeah, that's all I'll say for now. It is an interesting mechanic that I think works pretty well for them. I don't know, Noel. I'm not sure what happened there. Carolina is very good. I have a friend who plays Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes and yeesh. I haven't paid much attention to that recently, but I know that their power creep has at least historically been pretty bad, so I'm not surprised to see the yeesh. Oh, absolutely, Zarafa. Not the, in a few months part. I know somebody's going to take that as confirmation. But yes, when rank 5s eventually happen, there's no way Spider-Woman won't be one of the most popular rank 5s. What happens if she still wrecks people on defense because of fumble? You can play around it a lot better if you can parry, let me tell you that. Because I think that is one of the biggest problems with the Ensnare and Jess's defensive kit, is that I think a lot of people probably don't even know you can play around the fumble. Yeah, I've done the same thing, Kanga. I think for me it was High Evolutionary that I pulled at Max Sig, and it's not the first time that's happened to me either. There have been some discussions about it, but it's a complicated issue. The main thing, because I've talked about this before, and I know you weren't here then, the single biggest obstacle we have is that we do not have control from a technical level on the rewards a dupe gives in the Titan versus elsewhere. Which means that if we change that for... I know you just said in general, but I think it's worst in the Titan, so I'm going to focus there for the moment. And I think that may even be what you were implying. But if we changed that for somebody in the Titan, and then somebody like... It would also change it for any gacha crystals that was doing it. It would also change it for any saga crystals. Like, it is a significantly wider economic change than it sounds like. Because I think if we could... Excuse me. If we could make the change just for, like, when you pull a Max Sig champion from a Titan crystal, instead of 1,200 shards, you get 10, 15, 20 sig stones of that class, if we had the ability to narrow it that much, it probably would have been done already. That's not me speaking for the economy team, that is me guessing that it would have been done already. But we don't, so we'll see. It is a problem that we are very aware of. Usurpation always catches me off guard. Incursions. Like, mostly in a good way, but it's weird. Yeah, Moleman and Zemo are very, very good. You're kind of right and you're kind of not, Harry. Because, like, yes, the regular balance patches in this game are a significantly taller order, in my opinion, than they are in a game that only has, like, 20 characters, almost no matter how complex those characters are. But there are games like Total War Warhammer that have 300 unique units, and like when they do balance passes, they will go through and they'll be like, the tier 2 spearmen specifically with shields were overperforming, and so we reduced their armor rating. But it is different than a lot of games, so I do take your point. You jerk. That was my fault. No, I hear you, Congo. I know I'm gonna get hit, but I need to get rid of the freaking degens. Okay. Hey. Alright, that was good. Hulkbuster's so annoying against shock immune attackers against Hulkbuster when they are not cosmics is pain. I've been there, bud. I think you probably do, Elijah, because like Kunga said, it's like this is probably going to be broader than other designers might want me to state it, but as a general guiding principle, a game like ours that is incentivizing roster progression and development should want to avoid a situation where somebody thinks, you know what? I could spend $30 right here, except that this system could punish me. Right? Like it's not so much about do they need a bonus, it's more like, are the incentives getting in the way of the point of the game? And the point of this game is building your roster, if that makes sense. Take care, Noctic. Yeah, like Eternity says, it's not that power stings don't apply to parries. It's that you're able to control the fight and manipulate what special she's on and be more likely to be able to throw your own special if you don't have to worry about the freaking ability accuracy reduction. Yeah, I get you, Kunga. Hey. Yeah, things are going okay, but oh, was I not playing Battlegrounds well. So, we're in Incursions again. Saving all my Titan shards because I only want Maker and Zemo from this pool. I think that makes sense once you get down to there. I'm still opening because I do want Carolina and Cassandra, so I'm in a similar spot to you. But I think it would be plenty defensible if I wasn't. That seems fine. Cool. I hope when you say for no reason, Aiden, you're being self-deprecating and you know that it's not going to be, like, economically rewarding and not that something happened that makes you feel like it was truly a waste. Nice, Bill. I'm glad. Yeah, Koye is very good. Baymax, I doubt would ever happen because, like, I know Big Hero 6 was originally a comic book, but was it a Marvel comic book? Yes, okay, he is a Marvel Comics character, but I imagine the rights are probably tied up in the movie, so I really don't know. That's an interesting one. My guess is it would be difficult, kind of like for a while we didn't know if we were allowed to add Lady Deathstrike. I don't have more details on that, so I'm not going to get into it. But, like, yeah, I imagine there's some complexity. But it might be possible. Luna Snow is also a little bit different because Marvel generally does not like what am I trying to say? Marvel generally tries to make sure that its games aren't directly competing with each other. If that makes sense. I don't really have details on that either if it doesn't make sense, but I think I can say that. Yeah. But, like, they try and make sure that, you know, even if there are games that exist in the same spaces, that they're not kind of defeating the purpose of the others existing. It's not to say that they're necessarily perfect with that, but they are more intentional with their IP than Warhammer, let's say that. And so the point is that Luna Snow would be a little bit more complex because she is an original character from another game. And obviously that wasn't a deal breaker for Rivals, so it might be possible. But again, there'd be some complexity. Dang it, Sue. Yeah, it's always nice when that happens, Eli. We would say that that reinforces the existing meta, right? That's fair, Aiden. That's cool, though. The Micronauts suck. Recently duped Shother from a basic, and I was so pumped. Yeah. Completely agreed. Okay, that's fine. What do you do? It's also fine. What do you do? Also fine. Hey, Sim. No problem, man. Glad you had a safe drive and a good trip. We need to go back to Pittsburgh. I miss friends, and so many cool places have opened up. Love that city. I don't know why I threw that. I should have done Retribution. But this is working fine. I always forget that dashing in breaks. What the heck was that? It's like the game was like, wait, does he heal or does he die? But I always forget that dashing in breaks strategic movement. Shouldn't get my hopes up for Guillotine to be added to Rivals. I mean, I want that. I think that would be sweet. I have no idea. If the Rivals peeps think that that would actually do well. I'm glad to hear that, Nartic. Yeah. Joaquin is fun. I enjoyed him quite a bit in 9.3 as well. You and me both, Easy. I want to build Gilgamesh. I think I've said that before. But I want to build Gilgamesh. I just want his entire kit to be that scene in Eternals where the bull deviant comes running at him and he puts it down with a single hit. To build a whole character off that nonsense. Phil Coulson is probably available. Some other complexities there I can't talk to. I'm very down for more Inhumans too, Aiden. I want to build Crystal too. There were rights issues with the Fantastic Four at the time, yeah. Like, we're no longer bound by that. But yeah, there was an issue for a bit. Let's be careful with spoilers, Harry. Ooh, that would have been cool, Shuriken. That would have been really cool. Big shocker. A little bit. A man can dream. Okay, I'm not using Jess much. I'm gonna swap her in for Nico. Yup. It depends, Easy. I think the big Eternals are more diverse than the big Inhumans, but if you go further down the roster of the Inhumans, there's a lot of really interesting diversity. I mean, similar to the X-Men, right? Since they were very obviously intended to replace them. Athena would be cool. Ooh, Bailey Hoskins rings a bell, but I don't know who that is right now. Looking. No, I guess I don't know that one. Quote, worst X-Men ever. Okay, that's funny. A little bit, Alex. Because technically now that Gladiator's there, we've touched on the Shi'ar. But I want Smasher. Like, the Imperial Guard in general would be neat. I would specifically want to build Smasher. Yeah, I'm with you there, Indigo. My phone's getting tired. Read his power. Okay, I will click on the wiki link. Self-dictation. Okay, I had gotten that part. Like asking what Chaosu's special 3 would be. Yeah, I expected someone to bring up Deathbird. part of the reason I want to build Smasher is that I know somebody else would call dibs on Deathbird. And I'm okay with it. Ouch. Man, I hate this guy. That's fine. We'll heal her later. Armor is a she, but yeah, armor would be a cool one. I understand why you say Future Foundation Spidey, but given that it is literally mainline universe Peter Parker, I would rather us finally launch skins, personally. The others I'm with you for. Not a problem. Also fine. Also fine. I haven't heard of any restrictions by nationality, Aiden. That's a good question, but I at least haven't run into it. I'm not on that team, though, I should immediately say. I was thinking that one day we'll run out of characters and then we release a character you feel like should have been in the game already. I mean, that is intentional, right? We are trying to make sure that we don't burn all of the most recognizable ones as we dig further into the barrel, but that is cool to hear. Spider-Man Noir is fair, because that is a different universe. I don't count that as a duplicate, personally. Maybe I should have used Nico for this and just healed. That's not even an animation team problem, Easy. What Aiden just proposed is an engineering issue. You could be messing with me, Cloves, and I would never know. How are we only at Zone 15? This is why we reworked the Saga sector. Jesus. Oops, I didn't read the boss. Hopefully it's not a problem. Hey, Pablo. Also, I should probably go to bed. Sorry to put that on you, Pablo. I realized how that sounded. Okay, that's another reason to go to bed. My phone is clearly done. I mean, I wouldn't put it that way, Indigo. But characters with problematic utility are lower on the priority stack because they are more dangerous to buff. I gave this example on stream the other day, so it's pretty easy, but somebody like Psylocke or Jubilee. I know what you're doing, Aiden. That would be cool, Elijah, but I would also instantly be scared, not only by the large number of additional characters, but also because, like, the power scaling conversations would be so incredibly stupid. Like, it's bad enough as is. Yeah, Gulk is a fair example. His ability was a lot more science appropriate when he came out than it is now, unfortunately. Okay, I said I need to go to bed. I need to stick to it. You have exotic tastes, Collabs. Does recording voiceovers ever get more efficient? Yes. Yes, it does, is the short answer. I still have to circle back and try again. I'm not perfect, but you tend to need fewer takes. You tend to get to the point where you need fewer long, uncomfortable pauses, and it becomes a more natural part of your speech pattern. And one big thing that I've gotten good at is now when I mess up, instead of immediately correcting myself, I pause and I intentionally leave a spot in the tape so that it's easier to edit without listening back to the whole thing. And then I start clean. That has saved me so much time making videos. That's my biggest tip. Night, everybody.